Thanks.
So we are at Comic-Con.
Yes, we are.
Talk a little bit. Is this your first time here?
For sure. This is my first time at Comic-Con.
Talk a little bit about what you had heard and what you've been experiencing thus far.
Well, so far I've just gotten shuttled from the disco van, big giant van for all of us from Elysium, and they've just shuttled us from hotel to hotel. So I'm waiting. I'm kind of waiting for. I did manage to see a bunch of people dressed up like nuts out in the streets, so that's good.
I asked this of everybody. I'm not sure if you're going to go on the convention floor or not. Is there anything that you collect that might be a Comic-Con, like posters, comics, prints, toys, movie props, although you're involved with all that stuff? Is there anything that you're like, I can't wait to see that?
No, I'm a minimalist. I don't collect anything, not one thing. But
Really?
I know lots of people who do. So if my nephew was here, and he's been dreaming to come to Comic-Con for many, many years, he would go a little crazy. He collects virtually everything. But, especially Star Wars and all that.
I understand.
Yeah.
Before we get into Elysium,
Yes.
my last little question for you. You've been in so many movies and you've done so much stuff. When you're standing in line at Starbucks,
Yes.
what's like the one thing that people always want to talk to you about? For me, it would be Contact.
Wow, that's so funny. It's nice that you want to talk to me about Contact. Not that many people do want to talk about Contact, actually.
That movie's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good film. It's a good film. No, I think people really want to talk about Silence of the Lambs, and they usually like to say things about fava beans and Chianti and, all that kind of stuff. There's usually some of that.
Right. I would only be about Contact.
Okay.
That would be my thing.
It's a great movie, and the thing that makes it great is the voice of Carl Sagan, and just his billions and billions of years of experience that engendered the story and the book and the different series of the Cosmos and all that.
No, totally. Jumping into why we're actually here.
Okay.
This has been a film that everyone's been talking about, but it's been so under wraps.
Yes.
It was very secretive when you were making it,
Right.
and you guys are finally taking like the curtain back.
I guess.
To reveal a little bit.
Yeah.
What got you first involved in this? And talk about, for the people that don't know much, about who you play.
Elysium. Neill Blomkamp, fantastic South African director. He directed District 9. I jumped at the opportunity to work with Charlton Copley and Matt Damon and him, and a sci-fi movie set in the future, but it's a future that's marred by the haves and have-nots, and that's we're living with the conditions that we've put out politically and socially. So there are lots of rich people, and then there's way more poor people, and the rich people have fled the world, the planet, in order to create their own habitat. I play Minister de la Cour, who is French. There's lots of people from all different, lots of one-percenters from different parts of the world who now are on this habitat. So she's villainous. I don't know if she's the villain, but she's villainous, and she wants to keep all those bad people out.
It's very interesting because at the time when you guys were making this, the 1%, 99%, that wasn't really going on. Or maybe it was just starting. I'm not exactly sure the time frame. But it's interesting that there's this message is going to be, you know what I mean?
Well, the Occupy movement hadn't happened yet, but certainly the issues of rich and poor have been around for a long time and grow increasingly difficult as time goes on. And, Neill is first and foremost a kind of sensitive spirit about the world, things he cares about, and he also likes to blow things up. So put those two together and you basically get Elysium.
We'll talk a little bit about, as a director and as an actor, how do you approach, what's the difference for you as an actor in terms of approaching material and being on set, and is it harder for you to be like, oh God, I don't want to say anything but I have to say something?
No, I've made peace with it, and I think that I have a lot to contribute because I have directed films and I made a lot of movies. I have a lot of experience, but I really like to serve the director, and for me, I love just acting, and I love just directing. I don't really like doing both of them together. If I have to, I will, but honestly, I like just acting, and I like knowing that I'm serving somebody who has a full vision and a full signature as a director, and that I'm there to tell his story. So, I'm there just to help him. I mean, if anything, I come really prepared, and usually I finish pretty quickly, and then I move on. That's that's kind of how I work. I'm not like a big pain.
Usually, well, I've already learned this about
Yeah.
you just prior to this interview starting.
Okay.
Usually when you sign on to a project, you get the script, and then executives get involved, or notes, or script
Right.
changes, and you're on set and something happens, and then the final movie comes out, it's nothing like what you set out to make.
Right.
In terms of Elysium, from when you got the script to when you were
Right.
on set, and from what you know thus far,
Right.
how much has changed, and how much is pretty much what you set
Right.
out to make?
Well, Neill is the golden boy, and he's incredibly nice. He does exactly what he says he's going to do. He's fully prepared and he can take care of himself, totally independent. And the good news about MRC is that they worked with him on District 9. They recognized that and they protected him. And pretty much he wrote a script and he shot the script that he wrote. There really weren't very many notes. I think the notes were just helpful to try and make the film better. And Sony's been incredibly supportive. And he came in on time, on schedule, on budget and did everything right. And I think they're just madly in love with him.
Well, how was it for you in terms of on set? Sometimes, I know that Neil's pretty
Yeah.
decisive.
Yes.
But I'm sure there were certain scenes, or maybe there were certain scenes where he wasn't sure how to play something.
Right.
And in fact, maybe there's
Right.
different versions of things. Like maybe play it a little harder in
Right.
this one, or
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously, you want to have choices when you get in the editing room, so you want to be able to ask your actors to give you a range of things, so that you may want something from the bottom of the range, or you may want something from the top of the range in terms of energy or other things. But we come up with our characters together. So I come to him and I say, this is kind of what I'm thinking about for the character. I think she looks like this, she talks like this is where she's from. I'd like to change a few things because they don't sound right for what I'm trying to do. And then he either says, yes, yes, no, 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 what about this? It's sort of like, I don't know, I guess it's sort of just like creating things together, like being an artist together,
How early, some actors I've spoken to, as soon as they get a script, they're breaking it down, they're getting ready, they're spending as much time as they can
Right.
with the character. Other actors, it's like the day before, I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
gonna fucking win. This is what I do.
Yeah.
For you, how early are you breaking down something? Like, are you a last minute person? Are you as early as I can?
I am not a last minute person at all, but I'm very methodical and I know myself. So I know, for example, that there's certain things that I want to nail down that require time. If I'm going to wear a wig, you got to have 8 weeks. If you don't have 8 weeks, it's going to look bad. There are things that you need to make decisions about. If you're going to have an accent, I want to be good at it. So that means I need a long time. And that also means that the dialogue that I'm saying, I'd like to have already been written. So I'm going to be methodical about that kind of stuff. And then there's things that you learn. If I work on this too early, I'm going to get bored. So I have to wait until the last minute to really focus on this particular aspect of it, some of the details of it, so that you have a freshness and a spontaneity, and so that it still feels like something you're incredibly passionate about and that you just thought of. So you sort of learn to compartmentalize and do all that.
I definitely want to ask you about directing.
Okay.
I looked at the old accurate IMDb.
Yes.
You had 1991, 95, and then 2011.
Yeah.
So there's like a 4-year gap and then a big gap.
Yeah.
Is there going to be another 12-year gap?
I hope not. I really hope not. Now, there was also a movie called Flora Plum, which I started in 2 weeks before shooting, got the plug pulled. And I got that set up another time, and it got this plug pulled a second time. So there was a movie there that was almost made. But yeah, I take time in between films because I've acted. I have an acting career. And it's also really, I make personal movies, and they're really hard to get off the ground. And I'm also really picky. And I sort of feel like, I'm not a workaholic as a director. I had a really long career as an actor, and I have that identity, so I don't need to be the most famous, well-paid, fabulous director. I need to do things that are authentic to me. And if I made 2 movies or 3 movies or 4 movies my whole life, but they were movies I loved, that would be fine.
Sure. I got to wrap with you.
Okay.
My last question.
Sure.
What are you reading right now? What is stuff that's interesting to you? What are you maybe getting ready to act in?
Right. What am I reading right now? I'm reading Lie Down in Darkness for some reason. That's what I'm reading. What am I getting? I'm not getting ready for anything. I'm trying. I'm going to do all the publicity for Elysium, but I'm working on stuff to direct, and that means developing that, working on screenplays, hiring writers, doing that kind of stuff, and also things potentially to do for cable and for TV.
That's actually my last question. Is while I have you, not network, but HBO, Stars, all
Netflix.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All this stuff is really taken off, and the ability to tell stories that are so different and so challenging to the audience.
Right.
It's now there. It's available.
Right.
So is that sort of where maybe are you developing possibly a series?
Yep, I've got all that stuff going on, and it's much more, what I do make personal stories that are character-driven, and they're sometimes about family, and they also mix humor and comedy. So that really is what's going on cable right now. So it really is my genre. So yeah, I'm hoping to get into that. I want to see how a story works itself out, and people work itself out over 60 episodes, not just an hour and a half, so a long period of time. But that being said, I love features. I'm always going to be in the feature business. But the audiences are changing. I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, I go see the big franchise films with my kids. I go see them in the movie theater. But almost everything else I see at home. And that's pretty much how it's going now. I think there's going to be two industries. There's going to be the big, fat CGI franchise industry, and there's going to be everything else. And maybe there's a wonderful democratizing that's going on with that, where, the big, bloated $100 million comedy and the $2 million absolutely amazingly, specific, funny thing with people that you've never seen before are all coming to you in the same way. And maybe you'll pick a high-quality one.
Totally.
Yeah.
I got to wrap with
you. Okay.
Listen, thank you so much.
Thank you.